I love Dark Souls. And honestly, this video could end right here. But maybe you're interested in why I like Dark Souls so much. So that's what I want to talk about. Other creators already wrote their love letters to this series, and yeah, I'm no different. Why does this game pull you in? Why do I feel this connection, this obsession that I can't really explain? The games are considered to be tough. Too tough, some might say. So how did this modern torture device literally save my life? The year is 2014.
Simpler times, am I right, fellow with 20s people? You know what I mean?
Ich bin so alt. Ich bin so alt, Mann. But I was in a rough spot. The German Realschule, or middle school you could call it, had just ended. My friends were starting their vocational training, never heard that in English before, and I too was eager to deepen my understanding of the world, to unlock the secrets that mankind still struggled with. I was ready for Gymnasiale Oberstufe. It's like high school, but different. Or so I thought, because oh boy, was I not ready. New classes I never heard of, no connections, no social circle, no friends, and even a bit of bullying. It didn't take long and I was falling behind. And soon I was skipping school entirely. And it all came to a point where I was asking myself, what am I even doing? You know, even now, life is not perfect. But it's safe to say that this time back then was one of the darkest points in my life. And even though I don't like to think about it too much, I later realized if things had gotten just a little worse, I'm not sure I would be here today. In those lonely days, luckily, two things were keeping me just stable enough to not fall deeper into this downward spiral. Watching YouTube and playing video games. And it was at this point that a certain game was brought to my attention. A Let's Play series popped up in my recommendations. And for the first time, I read the title. Dark Souls. Sounded good enough, I'm a fantasy fan through and through, so I checked it out. And honestly, my first impression was kinda bad. It seemed very tedious. Too difficult, and why do you have to run the whole way back to the area boss after you die? That just seems stupid. But also, I saw how much fun it could be. And at some points I insulted the screen, thinking how I could have done better at certain parts than the player I was watching. So, I bought the game. Just to see, is it really that hard? And yeah, it was. I started my playthrough of Dark Souls 1, escaped the asylum, got killed by skeletons, of course, that's a classic, fell down this ledge, freed NPCs, damaged NPCs,
Andreas, tut mir leid.
explored the areas, always holding my shield up of course, and killed bosses. And for real? I hated it. I hated the long walks back to the fog gates, I hated how every single enemy needed my full attention when fighting them, I hated the clunky controls. I never played with an Xbox controller before. But what kept me going was exploration. Because the world was, and still is, amazingly crafted. Everything connects logically. Everyone knows this elevator moment, the one that takes you back to Firelink Shrine, that felt like coming home from an adventure. So these things would balance each other out and make the game playable. Until I reached Anor Londo. Sen's Fortress had already been a nightmare. Balancing on narrow ledges while under fire, the traps everywhere, the mimic chest. After all of that, the demons grab you, carry you up to the wall, and then... the view. Good moment, 10 out of 10. Walking down the stairs, I could instantly feel that this was a completely different place than the Undead Burg, the muddy swamp or the sewers. Those places were broken and filthy, but this city? Smooth stone, quiet streets. The giant guards were no abominations, and the golden sunlight gave the impression that this was a land where things are still okay, away from the undead curse down below. I found the window.
Bro, ich musste googeln, wie man da hinkommt. For real.
Crossed the rafters, amazingly did not fall, made my way into the cathedral, met the smith, what a chill dude, and reached the fog gate. But these two bitches. Ornstein and Smough destroyed me. They didn't just kill me over and over again, They compelled me to lay down the gamepad in literal tears and not touch the game again for almost 2 years. This could have been the end. I was crushed after losing this one obsession that had kept me going through my daily life. When I talk about Dark Souls to people, I always mention this kind of therapeutic effect it had on me. Not as in escaping real life, but in teaching me really basic stuff like never give up, you can try again next time, or the world doesn't revolve solely around you. Dark Souls does so much right. And yes, some things it does wrong. Talking about these games, the difficulty is always mentioned. But I feel like people not affiliated with the series don't understand that it's not intended to be so crushingly difficult just for the sake of it. That would be a miserable gaming experience. The environment, the limited healing, the sparely placed bonfires and dozens of other little things make the game challenging but always fair. Eventually, I bought Dark Souls 2. And I beat it. It was different, but fun. And after Dark Souls 2, I tried my hands on the first one again. Not wasting levels into stats I didn't need, no fat rolling, and this time picking a weapon which felt right, not paying attention to the damage numbers. And like that, Dark Souls 1 ultimately was the most satisfying journey in a video game I've ever experienced, only overshadowed by Bloodborne sometime later. Dark Souls 2, despite all its flaws, will always have a little special corner in my heart for yanking me back to the series and try again. Playing and beating the first Dark Souls changed me. Like, for real. Maybe it sounds cheesy, but through Dark Souls, I was able to push aside a lot of self-doubts. I found motivation to search for a new path in life and keep going. I became a much calmer person, and I don't take life quite as seriously anymore, but in a good sense, I think. So maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I'm almost certain. Dark Souls saved my life. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening to me. I think everyone can hear that I'm not a native English speaker, so I apologize for incorrect grammar. I had this video idea circling around in my head for a few years now, and I'm glad that it's out of my system. I never wrote a script before, and I only have very minor experience in editing videos, so please be gentle with your critique. I thought, well, if you're gonna do this, you have to do it in English. The probability of it reaching someone that can relate to the points I made, or can relate to having a bad time or feeling disoriented in life, like I did back then, is just much greater. So if you hear this and you're having a bad time, you're not alone. I specifically made a channel with a profile picture and a theme, a banner, to release this, but we'll see where it goes from now. I have a few more ideas for love letters like this, and I have a few ideas for critiques, so I will get back to it and try to write another script, because making this was actually kind of fun. You are encouraged, of course, to engage with me in the comments, tell me what you liked and tell me what I can do better. And thanks again for watching. Wherever you are, I hope you have a great day. Bye.